Hey guys, welcome back to 13 Rings and NFC East podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts Earl and Maurice, and we have our special guest Rio back on tonight. Rio, thank you so much for coming in. We're missing our main man Lucas tonight. He's got some stuff he's got to do, so we appreciate you coming on to talk Commanders. We're really excited. This week was really awesome.
Rio?
What's going on? What's going on? I will gladly come on any NFC East podcast right now to talk about the sole possession first place Washington Commanders. Didn't get it done on Sunday, but it still feels good.
Yeah, so before we get into the predictions that we all had from beginning of the season, Rio, just wanted to ask you real quick, how excited are you about this start for the Commanders? Pretty cool.
I feel amazing because there is so many holes that remain on the Washington roster right now, but even with all of them, when you got five, you got a chance. Jaden Daniels is the quarterback I've dreamed about my entire existence, and life feels so good when you have a franchise quarterback. Don't it, Mal?
Yeah, can't relate. Rio's already throwing shots early, guys. This is going to be a long episode. But no, I'm happy for you, Rio. I'm happy for you and Lucas. Commanders fans definitely deserve it, and we're definitely going to get into your game. But Maurice, why don't you start us off this week with telling us about your matchup against the Cleveland Browns?
Well, how can I put this one? We faced the Cleveland Browns. We won 20-16. I'll put it to you like this. This was a bad win. That's the way I'll put it to you. It was a bad win because we should have blew this team out. I mean, this is a terrible team. Cleveland's one of the top 3 worst teams in the NFL. We came out after a bye week, no less, and we looked sluggish. We looked sloppy, sometimes a little unorganized. What can I say? Like, either we played down to the level of Cleveland or this is what the Philadelphia Eagles are. I don't know yet. There's only 6 games in, so I don't know. So all I can say is the defense looked better, and this might be a roller coaster ride all season with the defense. Last 2 weeks ago before the bye, they looked like dog water, and this week they look good. They look good once again. The Cleveland Browns, one of the worst teams in the league. So let me just get into the box score real quick because if you look at the box score, you would say, okay, they had a good game. I mean, Jalen Hurts, 16 for 25, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cool. He had no interceptions, no turnovers. That's a positive. I'll take that. Anytime Jalen Hurts turns the ball over, that spells doom for this team when it comes to a win-loss. So, no turnovers. Saquon only rushed the ball 18 times for 47 yards. That was a quiet game for him. For some reason, Jalen Hurts rushed 14 times. Why? I don't know. Don't take the ball out of Saquon's hands. But the return of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith proved to be the difference maker in this game. A.J. had 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. Devontae had a touchdown as well. We lost some guys on the offense. We lost Goddard. We lost Malata. Malata might be a couple weeks. Hopefully not. I haven't really heard anything yet. Keep your fingers crossed on that. But the defense, against this pedestrian offense of the Cleveland Browns, they had 5 sacks. Now, going into this game, the Eagles had 6 sacks on the entire season. They had 5 in this game. So, and they're still at the bottom in the league of sacks. When it comes to the sacks, we're still at the bottom of the division. But today was a good game. Sunday was a good game. Other takeaways from this game. Once again, I got to talk about the coach. Because the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni, what can I say?
I'm going to say one thing, Maurice. I think Nick Sirianni is the only coach to be hated by every single fan base, including his own.
At this point, yeah, you might be right.
Like, it's kind of crazy.
So, I mean, if you would have looked at the game, you would have thought the Eagles just won the Super Bowl the way Sirianni was celebrating after the game, talking trash. At first, I thought he was talking trash to Cleveland Browns fans, but I was like, it's not really Cleveland Browns fans at the link. So he was talking trash to his own fans. Now, the backstory was, going into halftime, Eagles looked kind of bad. They had a block field goal, which Cleveland Browns returned for a touchdown. So they scored going into the halftime, and the Eagles fans were chanting "Fire Sirianni." So basically, at the end of the game, when the game was wrapped up, he started to chirp back to the fans, and it was a bad look. It was a really bad look. You barely beat a Cleveland Browns
A
team.
loser.
I can't debate. I can't argue with you, Rio. I can't fight it, man. I mean, it's just a bad look. I mean, it was reported today actually that some people in the organization thought it was embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, he's just writing himself a plane ticket out of Philly. What can I say? At the end of the season, unless this team goes on a crazy run deep in the playoffs, him and Mike McCarthy might be on their way out. I'll leave that rest to Earl when it comes to McCarthy. But to wrap up the Eagles real quick, yeah, we're 3-2. This should have been a dominant win. The Eagles haven't beaten a team by double digits or two touchdowns since Miami of last season.
Jesus.
Every game they played since has been close. And for the talent that this team has, they should be beating up some of these teams. And they're just barely skating out of some of these games. It's concerning. As of right now, we're winning based off of talent and talent alone. We're not winning off of, coaching, preparation, and all of that in practice. We're not winning off of that. We're just winning off us as being better at certain positions on the field. As an Eagles fan, that's concerning. It really is. What went right for this game was A.J. Brown came back. What went wrong for this game, they got to play better overall. If this team wants to go far in the playoffs, they're going to have to start stomping some of these teams. And player of the game is A.J. Brown. Big difference maker. Jalen Hurts without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is a average quarterback. Pains me to say that because I've been on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. But without the talent of his receivers, Jalen is not the same quarterback. So player of the game is A.J. Brown. What you guys got to say?
Rio, why don't you start us off?
About the Philadelphia game?
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the way that they played the Browns. A win is a win, though. So stylistically speaking, you don't get an extra half, fourth, or 3/4 of a victory if you blow a team out in comparison to beating them by 1 or
That's
4
true.
points like Philadelphia did on Sunday. Good teams in the Bill championship pedigree, you got to find a way to win even when it's ugly.
So let me ask you this, Rio, before you continue. What did y'all do against Cleveland last week?
I'll tell you exactly what we did because I was just about to get to it, so I'm glad you mentioned it. We played a C-plus offensive game and beat them 34-13. We pulled our starters out for the entire fourth quarter of the game, up 34-6. Jaden Daniels had his worst passing day so far and still combined for 320 total yards. 34-13. He didn't touch the field in the fourth quarter. The Giants beat him. The Cowboys beat him, so y'all had to put him in the dirt because the division took care of business versus that team. But they did absolutely nothing on us. They scored 6 points on our starters, and Deshaun Watson doesn't look like an NFL quarterback anymore. But you took care of business, though. You did win the game. I want to see Nick Sirianni fail more than I want to see the Eagles fail at this point.
Ooh, okay. Fair enough. Earl, now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, a win's a win. Like Rio said, a win's a win. You take it no matter how it comes. You just take it how it is. The thing with Sirianni, that's going to have to be addressed because I don't know how y'all are going to address it. I mean, it can go any way, but he's definitely got something going on there coaching-wise. I just don't think he's going to bring you much success this season, but unfortunately, we're too late. You can't do a coaching change. Look what happened to the Jets. You just got to ride it out, hope for the best with that, hope that he can kind of bring you guys success later in the season. But I think the biggest problem for you guys is him right now. I think he's got a big ego. He's got a lot to say and not a lot to put up for it. And the offense just couldn't get it going. Like you said, Saquon needed to be more involved. Saquon's been great the first few weeks. I don't know how he only ended up with 47 yards this game, especially against the Browns. But other than that, yeah, you take it. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, a win is a win. And one thing that I noticed about the Eagles and the games that they have been winning that's very close, they've been squeaking by. This time around, you could say that Nick Sirianni, he's got a brick missing from the building, but you also got to count that, is he technically calling the offensive plays? Kellen Moore is basically the ringleader of calling the plays. So the more and more you're starting to see the Eagles and what they're trying to do is basically stating that now they got their stars back at receiver. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to feed them the ball, which means Saquon's going to take a seat because the showcase is the stars. You got 3 of them. Basically, if it's Saquon, you paid him the money, you got to realize that running the football will protect your defense. If you don't run the football, it does not protect the defense. TOP, time management, that will protect the defense. When you don't have that, you're in trouble. Not much to say there. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, I got you, Earl.
I just wanted to, before you finish up, Maurice, real quick, I just wanted to say our predictions for this game real quick from the beginning of the season. So Maurice was the only one who had the Eagles winning. Lucas, Earl, and myself all had the Eagles losing. So Maurice, your team came up big for you this week, just saying.
Yeah, that's more of a product of us a little over-evaluating the Cleveland Browns. We thought they were going to be better than what they were.
That's true. We did after last season for sure.
Yeah, it took a huge step back this season.
Here's the chin.
Yeah, they got a lot of issues. When it comes to Sirianni, just to finish up, he's a CEO head coach. Now he can make some decisions when it comes to offense, and he's made some decisions on the defensive side as well when it comes to some of the plays called. Now, when you're a coach like that, and you're just the overseer of everything else is going on, like it's a razor thin opportunity there for you to either be successful or crash out and fail. And he's crashing out and failing, and he's going to take the brunt of it. I mean, if you would have asked me right now, 1 to 100, if Sirianni would be back next season, I'm going to say 95% sure he's not coming back. So yeah, that's that. That's that for the Eagles.
Yeah.
We gotta supersede whatever the coaching is, and the players just gotta go out there and play and execute. And if they can do that, maybe we could string some wins together. But I digress. Commanders.
Yeah, before you go, Rio, just want to say our predictions were that the Commanders, everyone said that they lost. So, Rio, take it away.
I'm not mad at that. I felt confident going into this one. You know, it was one of those game of the week type matchups, the future versus the present versus the right now, Jaden Daniels versus Lamar Jackson. And I think the matchup lived up to its billing because we went out there and we gave them a game. Did our defense get a stop after the first quarter? Absolutely not. So they left Jaden Daniels stranded on the offensive side of the ball. They beat us 30-23. So Vegas called it right with a 6.5 point line. But Jaden Daniels, even in a loss, he marvels, he shines, and he's getting better. He's graduating, and he's pulling different tricks out of the bag as each week goes by. The Ravens are 15-2 versus the last rookie quarterbacks, 17 rookie quarterbacks they played, and Lamar Jackson came into that game 22-1 against the NFC, the Giants being the only team to beat Lamar Jackson from the conference. So we knew it was going to be a tall task, but we went up there without our number one running back. Brian Robinson Jr. did not play on Sunday, and I figured no B-Rob, no problem, but we definitely missed him because while we are passing the ball effectively, and Jaden had a good game through the air, 24 for 35 for 369, 2 touchdowns, no picks versus the same Ravens that played C.J. Stroud twice in his rookie season. Week 1 and in the divisional round of the playoff, he accumulated 0 touchdowns versus the Ravens, and he had 2 cracks at it. My guy goes up there, gives him 270 and 2 touchdowns with no turnovers versus Super Bowl contending team. But having B-Rob or not having B-Rob killed us. We ended up losing the time of possession battle. The Ravens had the ball for about 37 of the 60 minutes of the ball game. With only 9 more plays than we had, they were able to amass 13 more minutes of time of possession. That's not going to win you a ball game. Lamar Jackson was in the peak of his superpowers, 300 yards, only 6 incompletions for the day. He had time to make a sandwich, drink a soda, text a friend, watch a show, and then deliver a pass. Everybody was getting open versus our Swiss cheese defense. Our secondary is ultimately always going to be the Achilles heel until we get a couple more off seasons under our belt. We were never going to be able to fill all the holes on this roster in one off season, but Adam Peters, he did a pretty good job to come in and flip over this roster. Ron Rivera did unforgivable things in the draft and in free agency over his 4 years residing over this team, but we're off to a 4-2 start. We didn't get a good performance at all from our defense. We got no rushing attack. We were one-dimensional for the first time all season, but despite that, Jaden Daniels had us within arm's reach. We were down one possession. We gave the Ravens the ball back with about almost 4 minutes left to go, down one score. Did anybody in Washington Nation think we were going to get the ball back? Absolutely not, because we hadn't done so since the first quarter, where we got a little interception on the first drive of the game, our first interception of the season. Shout out to Missile Mikey Sainris, still the rookie second-round pick for that one. But even our best defensive player, Frankie Louvu, he pulled a Myles Garrett versus us last week and had a clean sheet. He didn't do too much of anything. Benjamin St-Juste is awful. We let Zay Flowers look like the second coming of Tyreek Hill in the first half versus us. We let Rashad Bateman almost get to 100 yards. Mark Andrews has not done anything all season, and he was not covered at any point of the game. He got in the end zone and was more open than I've seen anyone be since Jason Witten when he used to play versus us. And not to mention, when they needed to, Derrick Henry ran all over us. He went for about 150 and 2 touchdowns. So our defense didn't give us a chance in this one, but we still hung in there. We lost by a touchdown. I'm not trying to subscribe to moral victories because I think we could have beat that team, but I do like the fight, and I do like the way we fared against the best team on our remaining schedule, or the best team that we will play all season. Because as I look at Washington's schedule going forward, our next couple, Carolina, Chicago, at the New York Giants, Pittsburgh, Philly, and Dallas, I see a lot of winnable games in our schedule. And even in an evaluation first year, rookie GM, new coaching staff, rookie quarterback, I like our chances to win this division in year one of a startup. Don't let Jaden get a defense on him. Y'all going to have a lot of problems when that happens, but I actually feel better than I thought I would coming after a loss. We're still sitting in first place. 4-2 feels nice. You already might as well count it as 5-2 because the Carolina Panthers are going to feel the wrath of JD5 on Sunday because that boy looked like his dog died after the game. He had that LeBron James Eastern Conference Final versus the Celtics Game 6 look, and pray for the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. I'll open up the floor to you guys to tell me anything you like to say about the Washington Commanders.
Well, I'll start. You mentioned defense. Y'all did have a big loss this week, right?
Jonathan Allen. Yep, absolutely. He's out for the season with a torn pec. And before you go get into it, we did draft with our first second round pick, Jerzon Johnny Newton. And now it doesn't seem like a luxury pick. We're going to see what we got in that guy on top of the second rounder from a couple years ago for Darian Mathis pairing up with Deron Payne. I think we should be good there, but obviously Jonathan Allen is a loss.
Yeah, that's a big loss. Big loss. With that said, though, I like the path you guys are on right now. And with the most crucial thing is the schedule. The schedule is so easy. It's a cupcake schedule from here on out. If you guys can capitalize, stay focused. The division is up for grabs. I'll say that. As of right now, I don't have no one favorite to win the division. It's for anyone's taking right now.
I think so. And I don't think any schedule in the league is a cupcake schedule, but it is definitely a last place schedule. And when you go 4-13 the year prior, that's the schedule that's going to be presented to you. But in the NFL, where the parity is the highest, you can lose any week if you come in not locked in or not focused, like you just said. But I think we are the favorite right now. And I think Vegas finally put us as that. We should be at this point because Dallas is in an identity crisis. Philly hasn't got churning yet, and the Giants are the Giants, and they have Daniel Jones at quarterback. So I think if there should be a favorite right now, it should be the ones quarterbacked by that guy, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and you guys know I follow the Ravens too. Not as closely as the Giants, but I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, and I think that really that game came down to Lamar just had a day. He really just had a day. And he has a lot of those days. That's why I don't know why people hate on him so much, but that's a whole nother different story. But he really had a day. And that offense is finally clicking. The Ravens offense is clicking. Their defense is actually their biggest problem at this point in time. But Lamar and the offense, they really got it going. So I think that Jaden Daniels kind of being able to go and keep that game relatively close is a pretty good start, because the Ravens are one of the best teams in the AFC right now. That's going to be a team that's going to be competing to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, they were in the AFC Championship last year. You know, you still got the Chiefs, but whatever. But they're going to be up there competing, and you want to be competing with those teams. That's especially in a rebuild year. That sets you in a really good direction. So I agree with Maurice, and I agree with you, Rio. I think the Commanders are going in a really good direction, and it shows you that having that guy at quarterback really makes a difference, even no matter how many pieces you are away, because he kind of elevates the play of everyone around him. You know, even the defense, when, you know, yeah, you guys don't really have a lot of talent on defense, but when they watch Jaden do his thing and they watch him be a leader and take control of a game, that's going to elevate them too. So sucks, but only up from here for you guys. I digress. Earl, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I do. One thing that I can say about the Commanders is that they really have a good team. That you got to do is gel together, and then you got something special cooking up right now. As Lucas, in the terms of Chef Peters, basically what the Commanders. I can't believe I said that today. I call him the
Chef
football
I can't
wizard.
believe you did it.
Chef Peters, I love that. Talk that talk.
Yeah, that's Lucas. He's speaking that to gospel.
No, because
I can't believe I said the Commanders, because all I've been calling them is the football wizard kid. I refuse to call them by their name until I see some more of their Washington Redskins tradition come back, because to me that's the only way I see them with all these name changes and so on from that. If they go back to a little bit, then I'll call them by their name. But all jokes aside, Washington team basically has something brewing for them, and I like what they're doing on the offense, especially with their offensive line. Tyler Biadasz, he had a bad rep in Dallas, but when you can give a guy the confidence to go out there and play any given Sunday, sky's the limit. And for what the line is doing right now, they're playing with confidence. And that's one thing that I notice and give credit to, is because you got a rookie at quarterback, but then you got a line that has some inexperience, and they got to work together as a unit. And in order to protect your quarterback, what you got to do, you football. That gives confidence. And then what you do when you open up with the run, they're going to be baiting the run. Then you can go up top with them with Terry McLaurin and some of the other receivers. And then you got an offense brewing with what Kingsbury is trying to do, and then the team is just playing with confidence. And that's one thing that's going to be best with the team moving forward, especially with a light schedule. You guys will definitely have a chance to try to compete with the division, but I don't have a clear winner yet, because we got to see at the end of the tunnel who wins this race.
Can I say one more thing before y'all move on to the Commanders, by the way? Definitely say Commanders. You need to command some respect to the first place team in the division right now. You know, we're on top. You know, put some reverence on it when you say Washington Commanders in all caps. And Chef Peters.
I'd rather color in a coloring book.
As long as you stay in the lines. But Chef Peters, we should definitely address him as Chef Peters, because the trade deadline kicked off today. We watched Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper go for a conditional third and a third-round pick. You know what the Philadelphia Eagles gave us for a trash can wide receiver? A third-round pick. I say no more. Chef Peters and Adam Peters, we trust.
That's a good point. And Jahan Dotson really hasn't done anything yet with the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's not looking like a good pick for a good trade for the Eagles.
Didn't he get a catch in this game?
He had a catch for 13 yards?
Yeah, one catch for the year.
A catch is a catch.
When you trade somebody in their rookie contract that was taken in the first round, into the division, it shows you how little you are afraid of them. Y'all
All
got
right.
it.
All right. So
All right. Earl, before you go, I got the predictions for the Cowboys. Me and Maurice had Dallas winning. Lucas and Earl had Dallas losing. Now, Earl,
wow.
tell us your woes. Let's hear it. I'm ready.
Wait a minute, before you, Earl told us in the group chat earlier that
He's freestyling this.
He's freestyling this one. All right.
Proceed, my friend.
Alrighty, there's not gonna be too much stat lines in this one because I ain't no stat nerd. One thing that I noticed with what I saw from this game, and one thing that really disappoints me on just from what I saw on the display, is that I'll praise you when you do right, but I'll also criticize you when you're doing wrong. And I'm gonna keep a fair and balanced analysis with that. At this point, I'm seeing some things with this team as a as above, so below moment. And right now we're in the catacombs of just trying to figure out how to get above. And from what I saw from this game, it shows that, yeah, we don't have the stars, but I saw the lack of effort to compete against a team that is basically a complete team. I give credit where it's due. Detroit is a complete team. We saw them in the NFC Championship game last year against the Niners, pushed them to the brink, but I blame the head coach for his foot off the gas. But this time around, it was definitely revenge on their eyes because they felt they should have won the matchup against Dallas last season. And yeah, they put it under full display. They pretty much rated us 47-9 as a loss at AT&T and Stadium. So basically, my thing for this is, and the more that I'm thinking about it, is that, yeah, at some point in time, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, because after Jerry's gone, you got to deal with Stephen. And that's not going to be a good look. And for that, a lot of fans going, well, if you're not with it now, you might as well jump ship. But for those who are true to the team, stick with the team. But just the down display of what takes place with what Dallas does at home, I believe they're cursed. Since that Green Bay game, it ignited something and sliced the hearts of something within Texas as a whole. And every time a team shows up in Dallas, they just pretty much run all over us, put up points after points. Another game yet giving up of 40 plus points against Dallas, which is setting records of the most points given against home team. And it's pathetic to see. And then on top of that, I don't even feel like Cowboys Stadium is their stadium. It's not even a stadium to me. It's an entertainment extravaganza convention for Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones because they keep Dallas as a third place thing in their life. All they care about is money, events, and so on, instead of it being more about football, and that is the problem. I'm tired of seeing year after year where the team that Dallas build, you could easily build around this team to be something special, but all you care about is the things outside of football instead of making your team better. I'm just at the point, sell the team, Jerry. Go ahead and sell it. I know you won't do it. But at the same time, if you don't care about the Cowboys and all you do is create riddles and so on from that, you might as well just sell the team. I could care less. You had this team by the time I was born. I grew up with this team because Emmitt Smith was my favorite player, and I stuck with the team. But from what I've seen over time, yeah, there's got to be a change at some point. There's an identity crisis going on. And from this game, I noticed that you could say that Mike McCarthy had a bad game plan, but what if I said he's the only one that was creating this plan? I believe Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones got in Mike McCarthy's ear in trying to coach this game where Jerry's past his prime of football knowledge and Stephen Jones doesn't have anything of knowledge with football. All he cares about is the dollars. He never picked up a pigskin in his life. And that is my problem with this team, is that instead of knowing what you're capable of doing against a team, knowing that you are hurt, you got stars after stars after stars not playing in this game, and then you constantly be a finesse team. I'm sick of the finesse team. It makes no sense when you know you got a complete team on the other side and all you got to do is run the rock, control the clock, Protect your defense. At least have them maintain their superpower. Can't even do that when they're getting ran up all over. Another game where the Lions running backs nearly went for 200 yards all purpose. It was insane. What went wrong in this game? Everything went wrong. From the offense, not going. The defense getting ran through. Special teams not doing what they can to make an impact. The offense, Mike McCarthy, I think it's time for him to get fired. Not by his job, but his coaching, his offensive play calling. It's got to go. You got to get rid of that. I really want to see what Brian Schottenheimer has under the offense because you got him as the OC. Why not have him call the plays? He runs the rock. Mike McCarthy, one thing that I feel that Kellen Moore had a bad rep on was that all he needed was the right direction to get him where he needs to go. But yet, Mike McCarthy was selfish in what he wanted to do to throw this kid under the bus just so he can call the plays. And he's running the same things that Kellen Moore did, but a worse, watered-down version of it. The no-identity offense. I can't stand to see a team that has so much potential falter over just the lack of effort dealing with what the organization can bring to the team to help them be better. It just doesn't make sense. And the more and more I look at it with Jerry Jones is that he needs to just relinquish that GM position. Give it to Will McClay. Will McClay is bringing in the guys to cover his tail because he can't do his job. And I think Will McClay would have done a better job as a GM. And Stephen Jones, all he needs to do is sit back, kick back, relax, grab a snack, and just sign the contracts and do his thing, wheel and deal. They're too complacent, and I'm sick of it. What went right? Brandon Aubrey. He's basically the one that gave Dallas the points in this game. It seemed like he was the only guy to show up. My player of the game is Brandon Aubrey. But yeah, there's a situation where Jerry Jones got on the 105.3 The Fan and pretty much threatened the guy's job. After he wanted them to ask the soft questions, they hit him with the hard questions. I don't like those guys on 105.3 The Fan, but I give them respect on what they were able to do with answering the questions. Asking Jerry, why we keep getting blown out at home? I think that's a fair question. Yet Jerry Jones wants to start talking in riddles and stuff like that, and all they're trying to do is get a point across. He's attacking them. And it's like, wait, you asked them the questions. You wanted them to ask you questions, the soft questions. I'm glad they hit them with hard questions. It's time for a change. I just want Cowboy Nation to realize that the situation what Jerry's doing is not helping the team. They got to step up. They got to not show up to games. They got to not show up to practices. Don't go to Oxnard. Hit them in their pockets till they realize what they're doing. Enough where it will have Jerry step down. Maybe some right could happen from it because 30 plus years going on, he's doing the same stuff. All it is about an ego, and it tarnished the legacy of a team that could have probably about maybe 6 to 7 Super Bowl rings. He's stuck with 5. But yeah, give credit to Sean and RJ on 105.3 The Fan. They answered the tough questions, and hopefully the guy doesn't lose his job for that. I digress.
Yeah, I'll go first here, Earl. I don't got much to say besides, listen, butt whoopings happen, and this was a butt whooping. Offense didn't click at all. Defense got shredded. Wild that it happened on Jerry's birthday. But the sad part is...
I'm glad it happened on his birthday.
Yeah.
Now he's got to eat it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, the sad part is I don't think he is going to change. So either the team shakes it off and comes back after the bye strong. I mean, you guys have a lot of talent on your team. You guys can do it. And you play the 49ers when you get back, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a thorn in the side team to you guys either way. But the only way to turn this thing around, you guys got to beat them in 2 weeks. Otherwise, a bad L there. I'm not confident in the Cowboys season moving forward. That's all I got.
Basically, the main thing that occurred with that is what other teams are doing. They're stacking to get their teams better. I can't say one move that could potentially be one that could help them improving from last season. I saw the Giants improve. I saw the Eagles somewhat improve. I saw the Commanders improve. and they still got money in the tank. Dallas have $27 million under the cap that they can spend that cash. They choose not to. They're cheapskates. And all I want is to see them play better. Get guys around the stars that you have to make the team better. But it's also the thing of a problem is that these coaches always listen to what the Joneses say. And that is the problem. Because, yeah, you can go out there and play, but it just frustrates me that I see my head coach hide his tail between his legs against a team that is bigger and better than them. I don't see no fighting edge. And that is the part that frustrates me because I'm a fan who knows that I'm going to keep fighting to the last, till the clock hits zero. And I'm basically seeing no effort in fighting back, being physical. This is a finesse team. And this season, they got more teams that's physical. I hardly see a team that could be finesse, maybe the Panthers. But even at that point, they're going to play you like a physical team. My biggest thing is the head coach needs to have that killer mindset to the point to get his team physical. And if you can do that, sky's the limit. He had a chance to run the ball, knowing what the Lions have on defense. Run the ball. But no, you're going to have Dak throw the ball early, which shows finesse tactics, and you have a ratio of 22-8, which means you ran the ball only once compared to most of your passes. You lose the game when you do that because you can't set a tone. And I put that blame on McCarthy. He lied to most Cowboy fans saying that he wanted to run the ball. He wanted to do a 30 for 30. It's just disappointing to see because when you know that something worked last week, why would you change it this week? No one can get the guys going. You got a young offensive line. Tyler Guyton, yeah, he's bad at pass pro, but he can maul you, run the rock. BB, run the rock. If you know Zach Martin is having problems, get him in the physical mode to do that. I can say one coach should be fired, and that's the offensive line coach, Mike Solari, because he's got these guys under a pass pro where in a run mode, you can't do that. And I feel like they're just losing the lack of physicality, and that's what's hurting. But, yeah.
Nah, I hear you, Earl, totally. Before we continue, guys, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Rio. He has to head out now. So, Rio, thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking Commanders with us. We appreciate you coming on, seriously. And we will see you next time, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, y'all, for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Rio. Salute.
Thank you, man.
If I can fit it in whenever I can, I will hop on with y'all and chop it up. Best and worst of luck to the rest of your teams going forward.
Same to you, Rio.
Likewise,
have a good
my
night,
guy.
man. Thank you.
Take care, bro.
Now, Maurice, did you have any thoughts on the Cowboys game?
Not only was this a butt kicking, but the Lions went out there and tried to take the heart out of the Cowboys. Like the flea flicker play was unnecessary.
They had the linemen having more separation than CeeDee Lamb in this game. Hope that makes sense.
They ran a hook and ladder with the offensive lineman.
Penei Sewell. And
yeah,
he would have scored if they didn't call the ineligible man downfield.
Yeah,
which is wild.
They were intentionally trying to stomp on the Cowboys, and some of that went back to last season with the ineligible man downfield, the lineman in the last season in Dallas. So
saying he was eligible.
Yeah. So the Lions went in there and they wanted to stomp out the Cowboys. I saw the stat on Fox. In the last 4 home games at Cowboy Stadium, Jerry's World, if you will, they've given up 167 points in the last 4 home games.
All the games were over 40 points. I was surprised the Lions 50 on Dallas just to prove a point.
That's crazy. So
yeah.
The Cowboys got a lot of, I don't know, man. Everybody has to look themselves in the mirror and man up because teams are just coming for them. They're coming for the juggler.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they're as above, so below. They stuck in the catacombs right now. They got to try to reach the top, but they stuck right now.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I'm sorry, Earl.
It's all good, but I do want to send a prayer to Aiden Hutchinson. That was a gruesome injury in this game, but I want to send prayers up to him and a speedy full recovery.
That was a bad injury. Wish him nothing but the best, truly.
Yeah, praise him, yeah.
All right, Earl, you got any final thoughts? You want me to move on to the Giants?
Jerry Jones, a happy birthday. He can kick rocks.
And with that, Earl digresses.
What's crazy before you go, Mel, sorry.
Yeah, no,
What's crazy was there's the clip of Jerry back in the day saying he made a prayer to the man above for one more championship in 95, 96. And he got it. And the Cowboys haven't sniffed a Super Bowl since.
It's a situation where if he did right by the coach that got him the 2, who knows? He probably would have had more rings. But even at that timely factor, he let his ego get aside of what the team truly needed. And after that Super Bowl, you could say Switzer won that one. He didn't. That was Jimmy's team. So basically, Jerry really didn't win outside of Jimmy because he still had Jimmy's team.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
But at the same time, it's if he doesn't relinquish some stuff, which I highly doubt due to his senile take, it's going to be same rinse and repeat on it. That's why I really hope the teams that y'all root for, even Rio and Lucas' team, I'll handle business when you need to. Because if you don't and they beat you, what does that say about your team? Now, the situation with the division, and I will finish. I got Dallas right now with the best record in the NFC East team as a whole. They're at 496 and 348. So I need 4 more wins in the division to eclipse 500 NFC East wins. So, But, y'all need to take care of business while you see this team going through an identity crisis. I digress.
I love that. All right, guys, let's move on to the Giants. Not really anything exciting, but there's some exciting stuff. So the Giants lost on Sunday Night Football 17-7 to the Bengals. Offensively, nothing was good. Nothing. I mean, besides Tyrone Tracy getting his first NFL career touchdown, which that kid's going to be really good. So he's a bright spot of that offense, and I'm really glad that he's been working out. That's the one thing I have to say about the Giants offense, because other than that, absolutely putrid. Wide receivers couldn't get open. Daniel Jones was missing shots downfield. Everything was just a disaster. We were not clicking. Dable's play calling was a little suspect. All of it offensively was not good. The one thing that was really good, though, this Giants defense, guys. I'm really excited about this Giants defense. They are finally coming together. They had the first few weeks had a little bit of rough patches, but everything's starting to work out. Brian Burns is finding himself. He had a sack in this game. Kayvon Thibodeau went down to the IR after having surgery on his wrist that he broke. So Azeez Ojulari had to step in and take over for him. And this guy just killed it. And this was my biggest thing coming into this game was if Azeez could keep up and actually get pressure on Joe Burrow. And he wound up having 2 sacks in this game that he started playing this week. So I am just so excited for him. He's had a rough go the past few years with injuries. So to see him step up and actually show some good potential, just amazing. Dexter Lawrence recorded a sack. He is now tied for second in most sacks as a nose tackle, which is just crazy. Haven't seen those type of numbers in a really long time. So Dexter Lawrence is just one of a kind. I'm just so lucky to have him on my team. He's just a true defensive leader there, and he's just unstoppable. It doesn't matter if he's double teamed. He makes plays happen, and he gets pressure on the quarterback. And this Bengals offense has been pretty impressive lately, guys. And the Giants defense did a really nice job. I will say that first play that Joe Burrow ran for that 47-yard touchdown, I can't even really blame the defense. Joe Burrow just really made a good play there. That was like textbook Joe Burrow as to why we have him in top quarterback conversations. Great play by Joe there. Can't really flack the defense for that. The Giants defense is currently leading the league in sacks with 26. The next team that is close to them is the Denver Broncos at second with 22. So this defensive line is just getting pressure on the quarterback, which is what we needed. They're keeping us in games. The problem is that the offense cannot execute and cannot stay consistent. It's always one problem or the other with the Giants. Rookies, Tyler Nubin is looking pretty decent. Drew Phillips is looking pretty decent. Deonte Banks is coming into his own out there in the corner. We really just need to start clicking on offense, and it all starts with the quarterback. I think genuinely if the Giants had a good quarterback, a lot of these games would have a different result. The Giants have been in a lot of games that they should have won this year that they wind up losing because they beat themselves. And with that, I digress on the game analysis. My player of the game is Azeez Ojulari with his 2 sacks, stepping up big for Kayvon Thibodeau and getting that pressure on Joe Burrow. I think he really made the most impact in this game. And with that, ends my thoughts. What do you guys got?
Well, I'll start in previewing the end of our pod here, but it's going to be an interesting game next week with the Eagles because your guys' defense looks pretty good. Now, I will say the only weakness it would probably be the secondary, but your line is scary, and you guys lead the league in sacks, so it's going to be scary for us next week. But talking about this game, I saw the highlight of Burrow running, and I was like, wow, he got some wheels on him. I didn't even realize he was that fast.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, he was like that at LSU his last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people don't give him credit for his being able to escape the pocket. I didn't realize he was going to take it to the house. When I saw that there was nobody there, I was like, go ahead and score, bro. You earned that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a very underrated runner.
Now, let me ask you this, Mal. Are you confident for the rest of the season with Daniel Jones as your quarterback?
Listen, it's a weird situation because barring last game, Daniel Jones really hasn't played awful. Like, he hasn't been terrible. Last week against the Seahawks, he did pretty good. Cleveland game, he did pretty good. This is the problem with Daniel Jones, though. He does this thing where he's like an annoying roach, where, like, you try and kill the roach, and he's, like, barely breathing, but then the next day the roach is, like, rejuvenated and has life. So it keeps us in this cycle of Daniel Jones is showing enough, but he's not doing enough. He can't win in big moments. The lights are always too bright, especially on primetime, literally and figuratively. No, I won't ever be confident in Daniel Jones because he hasn't been successful for a consistent amount of time. And even when he is successful, it's low-key mediocre. It's not anything spectacular. It's always just enough to get it done in the scariest way. And we can't really have that. We need someone who's consistent, who's a real leader, and Daniel Jones ain't that. So to answer your question, Maurice, no, I'm not confident with him in the rest of the season.
Okay.
Earl, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be quick with it. Yeah, the Giants defense, yeah, you guys got a solid. Y'all just got to execute some turnover, especially in the secondary. I think y'all will be fine. Next week, y'all are playing the Eagles, and yeah, that's going to be Saquon, so that might be some extra motivation. But at the same time, you got to see how your secondary handles the stars that the Eagles got at receiver. But overall in this game against the Bengals, y'all did what y'all could, like leading up all the way until that fourth quarter. It was pretty much that point. But it was just, I feel like Dable shouldn't have did those fourth down plays as much because it shot the team in,
he was very
in the
aggressive.
foot. Yeah. And for that, it really hurt the momentum that y'all had, especially on offense, because y'all kept going on fourth down and wasn't converting. The defense kept y'all in this game, and that's one thing that's going for you guys. But, yeah, I feel like if y'all are a tackle away offense and a quarterback away. So keep your head up. It'll be all right. And, hey, we got the Yankees. So.
Yeah, exactly. And before we move on to our social media stuff, guys, 2 points. One, kicker situation with the Giants is just abysmal. This is just getting out of control now. Don't know how we're going to fix that, but we got to stop with this whole kicking thing. I'm really thinking we got to go in on a kicker next year. That's 1 point. And number 2, prayers up to Andrew Thomas We lost him today to a serious foot injury. Don't know how long he's going to be out for, but hope he heals well. Big loss to our offensive line. Don't know what the future looks like there, but we'll have that conversation next week after Dable makes a decision. So I digress on the Giants. Maurice, why don't you bring us into our social media stuff?
Yeah, but real quick, I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants drafted a kicker like in the 4th or 5th round.
I said that. I think we need to draft a kicker. I'm getting tired of this, and Gano is just hurt all the time. I don't know how a kicker gets hurt so much, but
yeah, that's crazy.
Whatever. It's literally crazy. Whatever.
All right, so let's get into the NFC East mailbag this week. And we have a question, and this is for everyone. Since there was 2 major trades, Rio talked about it earlier, 2 trades that happened earlier today. Amari Cooper going to the Bills and Devontae Adams going to the Jets. The question for the mailbag is, and I'll start with Earl and go to Mal. If you can trade for one position in the NFL, what position would you trade for to improve your team?
Oh, I got an easy answer.
I'm going to look for edge, but I would say receiver because of how much. Oh, got to pick one. Dang. Okay. I'll say running back.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be the weakness of your team on offense is running back, yeah.
I think if they have a key running back that you can give the guy 20 touches, maybe 30 touches, maybe that might have a change of heart with Mike McCarthy. But I really think front office is having a play in his ear, dealing with this no identity offense where I believe he's going to be passing like crazy. I'm not looking forward to it, but there's a way you can pass and go death by 1,000 cuts. But then if you're like passing, it's putting your quarterback at risk. McCarthy left Dak to dry out in this game when you knew the passing wasn't working. So hopefully they're able to fix that going into the bye week because this loss that they took, they holding this for 2 weeks.
So real quick, Mal, sidebar. I think Mal's going to win that bet between the two of you.
I might.
Yeah, it's looking like it. I'm already at the point now. I'm
still
like,
plenty of season left.
The Giants is there. Yeah.
Still plenty
there's
left.
If there's a complete change, but the more and more I'm looking at it, it's like the Giants are not getting like big run yards, but they're getting enough that's adding to their total, while Dallas is like confusing. It's like, who gonna run the ball? I'll do it. No, I'll do it. You'll suit up and don't even play. I'm still waiting to see Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
So what you got, Mal?
I'm going quarterback.
You would trade?
Yeah.
You're probably going to draft one anyway, but you would just trade for...
Is this like I could trade for anyone or like who's on the market?
You could trade for any position that's going to upgrade your team.
Quarterback.
I know what quarterback you should get.
Who?
I would look at Detroit and trade for Hendon Hooker.
Interesting.
Okay.
Because he threw with Jalen Hyatt.
That's fair. I mean, not that we're using Hyatt. That's a whole other different story, but...
But he can sling it. Like, he's not afraid to throw it.
Yeah, I'm going quarterback.
All right, and for me, it's going to be edge rusher. We need someone.
It's a shame that you can't get Hassan back.
I know, we can't. And that's a whole crazy thing in itself. He fired his agency, and, he's looking for a trade somewhere else. So it looks like he's not even going to suit up for the Jets.
Yeah, no.
Wait, I'm confused. How is Huff? Didn't y'all pay him?
We paid him, and as of right now, he has a half a sack, and he got that half a sack this week against the Browns.
That's unfortunate.
That's
unfortunate.
Yeah, he just hasn't. I mean, that's the weak spot of our defense right now is pass rush, and the really for Vic Fangio's defense to really operate at a high level, they need a pass rusher. They don't have a pass rush. They don't have anything. Now I didn't mention this in my segment, but. He did bring some more pressure this week, which it did help. So hopefully we see more of that coming up. But with that said, though, that's it for the NFC East mailbag.
All right, Earl, it's time.
It is time. It's time for Who's That Football Player? Dang it. This football player played with the New York Football Giants back in 1986. He had 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles, 3 tackles for losses, 12 sacks, and 63 total tackles. His career awards: a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and All-Pro second team. Guys and gal, who's that football player? I'm going to start with Mal.
I can't answer because I came up with the who's that football player.
Maurice?
Ooh, one interception. So defensive back, maybe linebacker. Off the top of my head, I can't even really think of a cornerback back then for the Giants. So I'm going to go linebacker just because. I'm going to go, I can't say LT, that would be too obvious. Who's another linebacker? Pepper Johnson. I don't know.
Okay, so you say Pepper Johnson. Okay. Lucas is going to hate me. It's Leonard Marshall.
It is Leonard Marshall. Defensive lineman.
A defensive lineman. Okay.
Defensive lineman. Yeah, because back Giants had this thing where their defensive lineman was very athletic. That explains LT. And Belichick was the defensive coordinator around that time. So he was sitting pretty. But Marshall was definitely one of those guys where when he got in your face, it was trouble. Leonard Marshall was definitely a solid player for the Giants and had a solid career. So respect to him.
All right. Are we ready to move on to the poll question, guys?
Yes.
All right. So poll question of the week is from the Eagles. So who is holding the Philadelphia Eagles back the most from being an elite team? Options: Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, or the defense. And 60% said Nick Sirianni.
Well,
that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I just want the whole spiel about him. So, yeah. That's correct.
That's correct. All right, so that was an easy one, guys. Earl, you want to bring us into trivia?
Yes, I sure can. Alrighty. This one is for the Dallas Cowboys trivia. The question is, which punter during the Super Bowl era has the longest punt in Dallas Cowboys franchise history? I'm going to start with Maurice.
Once again, I have no idea who the punter. I mean, Lucas came up with this question, so it could be somebody from like the 70s. I don't know.
It could be someone from it probably is someone from the 70s.
That's wild.
I have no clue. I'm sorry I'm not participating, but I don't know.
No, it's okay. I don't have a clue about this one either, especially the punter. Earl, you know it?
I feel like I do, but I'm not sure. I'm going to give it a crack. So y'all have no idea?
No idea.
No.
Okay. Lucas took this one from, I believe, 1968.
Oh, my God.
Oh, come on, man.
Just let me hear you. Hold on, let me explain it. I knew who this was because when my parents was teaching me about the Dallas Cowboy history, this was actually a record during their franchise history that hasn't been broken. The punter was Ron Whitby. Basically, he punted a 84-yard punt, and that was against the Saints, which was his former team.
Okay.
So punter second to that, I believe, is Mike Saxton during the 90s with the Cowboys and Brian Anger early with Dallas now.
Geez, 1968. I would have never got that.
Yeah.
I said, Lucas is gonna hate me for
that was almost 30 years before I was born, guys.
Yeah,
that wasn't thought of either.
I don't even think my mom was born.
My
mom was born in 69.
Yeah, my mom and dad were born. My dad and my uncle were 1 year old around this time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My mom was going on 3 years old.
As long as we get some trivia questions pertaining to players that played on a color TV, I'm good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Maurice, why don't you close us out?
All right, so week 7 matchups. Well, Rio's not here, but we'll go over Commanders versus Panthers. I think we all picked Commanders to win that game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I also know for the Commanders thinking this is going to be easy street, as well as Lucas. I'm going to say this. Don't let it go to your head now. Don't come out flat.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta play the games. You know,
listen, Panthers have been scrappy recently. Could be a trap game.
Yeah, true. All right, now.
Yeah, they've been squabbling.
Eagles versus Giants.
Well, Maurice, I have bad news for you. Next weekend's my birthday weekend, and I don't lose on my birthday. So sorry.
Ooh.
Hey, I mean, Jerry Jones lost on his birthday, so anything's possible.
That's true.
Yeah, it's possible. Like I mentioned earlier, your defensive line is going to give us some problems. We don't have our our left tackle. This game, Malata, he's going to be out a couple of weeks with the hamstring injury. This is going to be a scrappy one. The Eagles better be prepared because if they're not, Jalen Hurts is going to be in a world of trouble. I'll say that. With that said, though, I did pick the Eagles, and I'm stick to that.
Yeah, no, listen, it's going to be a good game. Always is, especially this time around with Saquon's return to MetLife. So I'm excited for it. May the best team win, Maurice. No hard feelings.
Yeah, may the best NFC East team win. And, of course, next week the Cowboys are on a bye.
Yep, they're going to hold that L for 2 weeks, but it'll give me time to research some stuff. I'm going to do a little segment where I'm going to be tying in some college players to y'all teams.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
That's a nice little tease.
We had one for this week for Dallas, but I'm not sure if we're going to try to push it for next week, so I'll leave that mystery for now.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get out of here, guys. So, with all of that said, we hope you enjoyed this podcast this week. We thank you all for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And also check us out on YouTube as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give our episodes and blooper reels a thumbs up. Make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, and Facebook at 13_Rings Podcast. Until the next time, have a good day, guys.
See y'all later. Oh my God, sorry guys.
Blessings.
Keep that in.
I'm gonna keep that in. See y'all later.
Peace.
All right, bless.